Hey there, Reflectors. Thanks for joining me today for your weekly intuitive reading. I do my readings with oracle cards, tarot, sometimes runes, and I split up the readings each day of the week based on your human design type. There are 5 of them, so it's perfect with 5 days in the week, in the weekday. So if you don't know your type, check out the link below and you can find which type you are. If you are a reflector, this message is for you. All right, let's get started. I've broken up the reading today into 3 sections: your current situation, what you're moving away from, and where you're headed, or what you should move towards. Okay, so the first card that I pulled is Otter. It's such a sweet card. You are never alone. One thing I looked at, if you check out his face, it's kind of like, have you ever been really stubborn about wanting to stay in your, like if you're pouting and like having a down day and someone's trying to cheer you up and you, especially like maybe when you were a kid, and you're just like, no, I don't feel good and I don't want to be happy and I don't want to laugh. I kind of feel like that's what this otter is doing. It's like it really wants this warm hug and this sense of caring, but it's still resisting. It's like, no, I'm not happy. I'm not having it. So it's sort of resisting, but secretly really loves the situation where they feel loved, and sometimes we just need a hug. So based on everything that came out in my reading, it feels like maybe you're in, maybe this is you or maybe this is someone else that's close to you, but this feeling of you've been in a really down place, a really difficult place, and even though either you've been offering this support and love or someone else has, there's just this resistance to it. The person wants to stay in that stuckness. And, if this isn't between you and another person, it can also just be like in your state of feeling alone and feeling like you're sort of losing steam. You're just like, I give up. I'm alone. I don't know how to get through this difficult situation. And so this is really saying that you are being protected and held by spirit. The other thing that came up, I don't always pay attention so much to the numbers, but here we've got 4 and 2. 4 on its own always talks to me about your guides being there, like they're right there with you and they're supporting you. And 2s for me are always about having trust and faith, a reminder to have trust and faith. And so combined, if we reduce that down to a single digit, we add 4 and 2, we get 6, which is usually about work, family, and health. So, maybe this is a situation with someone you're working with, somebody in your family, or maybe you're going through a difficult situation with your health. But just know that you're protected and you are held. There's support there that you may not even realize. And, if you are this little resistant otter, just let go. Give in. Let yourself be loved. Let yourself be cared for. And if you don't know what to do, as this card comes out, solace. If you don't know what to do, ask for help. Your guides are all around you. And there are people out there that want to help you. So ask for help. Ask Spirit for help, your higher self. And, you may have lost hope, or someone you know has, for the time being, and you feel like the light is going out. It's something you're going through. It's a process you're going through, but it's better than you think, and there's help there that can really bring you out of this state of stuckness and sadness, which segues nicely into the second part of this reading, which is about what you are moving away from. So the two cards that came out here are Turtle Spirit. Let's see. Slow and steady wins the race. And Luminous Doom. So, these together to me really tell me that either you or somebody that you are in touch with, they've been feeling maybe depressed, stuck, can't hardly get out of bed or get out of their own way, sort of really fixed in this mode of gloom, and very almost stubborn about really sticking in and wanting to be stuck in this mode. It's just I'm upset and I'm not budging. And maybe a lot of release of, tears, emotions, that kind of stuff, which is actually super healthy. We may not want to feel the bad things, we may not want to, but, emoting and moving through those feelings that come up and addressing them and acknowledging them, that's all super healthy. What isn't healthy is prolonged stuckness, that you're almost, addicted to that state. And that is a difficult place. And, it's difficult if you or someone you're dealing with is actually dealing with mental illness and depression. That can be a really tricky topic to navigate. And it's especially hard for somebody who's trying to care for someone with mental illness. It's really hard to get in their shoes, and it's really hard without having any authority in that realm of science that, we're not experts. So it can be difficult, but I think the best way to be is just open and compassionate, and without, you don't need to fix anyone. That's the thing. Nobody needs to fix anyone. It's really just about lifting each other up and sometimes just listening. But if it becomes too much, it's important to set your boundaries. You are not required to be the caretaker in that situation. There's always, you don't have to be the only one. So I think you're moving away from this. And, this, you can switch the roles here, but this feels to me like don't know, maybe it definitely feels like a close relationship or friendship or something that's like you or the other person is really stuck and they're just resisting this love that's being offered. So the third section is that we're talking about is what you can move towards. So the card that came up was Cat Spirit, Claim Your Independence, which is paired with the Friends card in reverse. I love this card. I mean, both of these. So together, I feel like this is talking about, it's not, in reverse, it's not saying like, you know, cut off the friendship or whatever. It's more that there's this dynamic that needs to be adjusted. So standing up for yourself, asking for what you need and what you want, being honest, and having healthy boundaries. You know, if you can't take this on, or they can't take your stuff on, that's okay. But like communicating that honestly is super helpful, and knowing what everyone comes into the situation needing and wanting, it is helpful. You know, we're not all mind readers. And there is a way to be assertive in relationships that is loving towards yourself, but is also super loving towards others, you know, and not in the most obvious way, but I think when we act, you know, if we're talking about human design, when we're giving in to conditioning and acting in our not self ways, it's hurting us, but it's also hurting them. So I think when we can step up and say, no, this is actually what I need, this is actually what I want, and I'm not okay with this, I think what it gives people the opportunity is to either say, okay, then I'm not interested, or, oh, okay, I didn't know that. I'm fine with that. Now let's move forward. And it's not as big of a deal as you think you may have thought it was. If that makes sense, you know, and not letting people manipulate and control you and run over you, because that's not love, you know. So I think it's really, this is a sort of dynamic that's about this, you know, it definitely feels like somebody's depressed or, you know, really in a rough state, and they really just need to know that they're loved and they're held and they're protected. And it's not as dark as it may seem. And, you know, in the dynamic of, you know, maybe some person who's not feeling well, and the other person in the situation feeling like they're in a more balanced state, you know, it can be hard to work out how to still connect and have healthy boundaries for yourself. But I think that's really what you're moving towards here. Like, what we're moving towards is being in an empowered place. And I'm looking here at this, there's like a little heart on her chest here. It's sort of this loving independence by being more you, and by stepping into that more. It's really loving and letting people in to, I mean, this one here too is really about letting people in, letting people love you, not holding up all those walls, and then, you know, you don't have to shut everyone out, but you can keep these boundaries that are really loving and healthy towards yourself and others. So that's your message for today, Reflectors. I hope it resonates with you. And feel free to leave me comments below. And I will see you next Thursday. Have a great week.